please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi, a very good morning. Watching Trading Hour on CNBC TV18. I'm Ekta Batra. With me is Surbhi Upadhyay, and it's turning out to be a session where we are definitely seeing some amount of profit booking on the screen. Remember that in context of the strong run that we've seen, it's currently at 10,719 for the Nifty. So yes, it is a correction from the levels of close to 10,900 that we've seen. So down 83 odd points for the Nifty. We have the mid-cap index, which is correcting. We have the advanced decline ratio, which is significantly weak in today's trade. And one of the reasons, besides the kind of uncertainty on the Karnataka elections, is also with regards to the global markets, which are weighing. Besides Brent crude, we have the US 10-year yield, which is hardened all the way to above 3%. So that definitely is providing some amount of trepidation. A lot of stocks in focus: Reliance Communications, PNB, Adani Transmission, a lot of these mid-caps declining, and something like a Cipla from the frontline stocks along with ITC and TVS Motors. Hi, Surbhi.
Hi, Ekta. Good morning. Yes, absolutely. It is a day of profit taking. There's no denying that. In fact, yes, the US markets had a negative closing, but if you compare us with our neighborhood, then the decline here in India is slightly more accentuated. Interesting to look at the fact that, today there's no sort of, participant on the other side, so to speak. So you've got banks which are obviously looking weakish. A lot of the metal stocks are trending down. Nothing that could really hold up the pillar on the other side. Even a Reliance is on the lower side of it, ICICI Bank. So there's a lot of sluggishness. On the other side, barring a Lupin, I can only see TCS, because rest of large cap tech is not really performing. So you don't have too many counterweights today, which is why we're still trending close to the lows of the morning. There we go. So you can see the contribution chart over there. So you have a bit of buying on a lever, something on TCS, but then the losers are really, really overpowering the gainers, at least for now. Some buying on mid-cap tech. Let's see if that picks up. Stocks like NIIT Tech, KPIT. So there's some green out there on a couple of those names. Otherwise, lots of mid-cap casualties, as Ekta also mentioned. Well, let's get going then and get you some trading ideas to look at trade this Wednesday. Sudarshan Sukhani is joining in. Good morning to you, Sudarshan. What's your reading so far? Is this just profit taking? What would you do with the index positions at the moment?
Yeah, good morning again. Well, yesterday we recorded a high of 10,930. And unfortunately to me, it now seems that that is the high of this up leg, which started from 10,000 onwards. It is possible that we may have seen the highest point of this up move. If that is so, then this market will drift sideways and maybe even start going down again. So all said and done, the view is not bullish anymore, at least not till we cross 10,930 again. The view is mildly bearish, and with that in mind, I suggest building up short positions using put options. Keep your volume low, but be on the bearish side.
What is the range that you're working with, Sudarshan, now?
Well, 930, I told you, was the level at which resistance should come in and which is unlikely to be crossed looking at the markets now. On the lower side, 10,600 is a place where support comes in, and chances are that Nifty could slide to that level.
Okay, since you're looking at bearish bets, what about individual stock ideas, Sudarshan? What's on your list now?
Well, financials are in trouble. So we have NBFCs, where a host of NBFCs are falling relentlessly. They are actually breaking support levels, while the Nifty is much higher. NBFCs are much lower. So we are looking at LIC Housing as a short sell for the day. In the same way, PSU banks have been weak. I have been bearish on PSU banks for ages now. That bearishness continues. So Bank of Baroda is a short sell. So two short selling ideas for intraday: LIC Housing and Bank of Baroda, and both sectors remain weak. NIT Tech from the mid-cap IT is a buy. This is the only sort of beacon of light in this messy environment today.
Okay, all right. So for the Nifty, currently we're down around 75 odd points. Sudarshan, we have a couple of Twitter queries now. First up, Monica wants to know the price levels at which she can buy IDFC Bank for a long-term period.
Well, Monica, I don't think you should buy IDFC Bank for any kind of period, long-term, short-term. So I can't give you a price, because I think you should not be buying it at all. So much better to go for Kotak Bank or even IndusInd Bank. These are much better options. So I would not recommend buying IDFC Bank anywhere.
Okay, let's move to one more, Sudarshan. One more question coming your way. Vignesh wants to know if Lloyd Electricals is a good buy at current price levels. What's your sense now?
No, it's not a good buy at the current price level. It's not a good buy at all. You look at the chart, it's been falling. It's in a bear market in this uptrend. Why should you go and buy it? There's no level at which you want to buy this stock. You cannot add to your positions if you have it. You cannot buy if you don't have it. Just leave it alone.
Or F&O strategies now. Yogesh Mehta of Motilal Oswal is with us. Yogesh, over to you then. Nifty call as well as stocks.
Yeah, since Nifty has gone up to 10,930 level yesterday, but failed to hold on to 10,780 level today, which is a strong support, and that can give a downside door gets open up to 10,680 and 10,630. So ballpark, we believe that unless we cross over 10,785 decisively on the closing basis, the downside still remains open. So from the long now, the tide has turned towards the short side. So we are mildly bearish right now at this point in time on the Nifty front. On the stock specific, we are preferring short on PSU as well as the semi and the private sector bank, wherein we are recommending to go short on ICICI Bank. Current future price is 299.5, keeping a small stop loss of 302.50. Target, the probable target range could be 291 to 292 levels. The another one is TCS is on the buy side, wherein it is trading continuously above its 50 and 100 moving average into IT sector. So there 3,508 is the price in future segment, keeping a stop loss of 34.85. Target could be 35.50 to 35.60. And on the short side again, ICICI Bank, Bank of India, currently it is quoting at 94 rupees into the future segment. It has now it is trading near to its recent low of 91 rupees. So we are looking at 90 as a price target, keeping stop loss of 96 rupees.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Yogesh, very much for getting us all of those trading calls. On that note, it's time to move to some stories that we are tracking, and this is news coming in from the real estate sector. We are learning that Godrej Properties is considering exiting the Hyderabad market. Our colleague Kevin Lee is joining in with more details. Kevin, what's the thought process here? How sort of extensive was their presence in Hyderabad to begin with?
Well, Godrej Properties has maintained that its strategy is to become the market leader in what it considers to be India's top 4 real estate markets, which are Mumbai, Pune, NCR and Bangalore. As a result of this, it is mulling exiting all its projects in Hyderabad. Now, it had 2 upcoming projects in Hyderabad. It's been in wait and watch mode because there's been political uncertainty in the states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. It had bought a land parcel of about 30 acres back in 2007 and planned to develop this into Godrej Oasis, which was going to be a commercial project and was later changed into a residential project. Total saleable area of this project was about 5 million square feet. So that's the total potential revenue of 2,000 crore rupees that Godrej Properties will now be foregoing as it exits. It's planning to sell this land parcel to raise funds. The other project that it had in Hyderabad was a joint venture with Godrej and Boyce. This is in Hyderabad's Musapet area, and Godrej Properties was expected to get about 35% of the revenue from this project, a saleable area of about 3 million square feet. However, it exited this joint venture in the last quarter of calendar year 2017. So clearly, Godrej Properties' focus ahead is those top 4 markets that I mentioned to you, and we could see them pulling out of Hyderabad and even Ahmedabad at a later date. Back to you.
Okay, interesting information coming in there, Kevin. Thanks very much.
It is time to talk commodities as we promised. We have Manisha joining in with all the action, and in a bit we'll also be joined by the Director General of ISMA to find out what's happening with respect to sugar prices and of course all the policy changes. Manisha, good morning. Thanks for being with us. So what's making headlines here apart from crude oil, if I may ask?
And apart from gold, which also has been declining quite sharp. But let's keep an eye on sugar prices for today, where we have seen the prices continue to decline. And even as government has been tinkering the policies a bit here and there and trying to give a financial assistance as well, what we understand is that nearly 40% of sugar mills in India may not be able to take advantage of the government's financial assistance. That is because on 2nd of May, when government had decided to give out a 55 rupees per ton of an assistance on cane prices to these sugar mills, and while of course this assistance would have gone directly to the farmers' accounts, what really hasn't helped is that there have been lots of clauses and directives that many of these mills had to comply to, and that is only when they would be eligible for the financial assistance coming in from the government, and we haven't seen that actually come in. So the latest reports do suggest that 40% of these mills actually may not be able to take advantage of that financial assistance from the government. What was also important is that it's not just about the export mandate that had come in from the government. It also is about the fact that a lot of directives in sense of holdings of sugar stocks for the months of Jan and Feb is also something that the mills have not been able to comply to. But Avinash Verma, Director General of ISMA, now joins us to talk more about that. Avinash, hi, good to have you. While, of course, there have been a financial assistance that we have seen come in from government, 40% mills will not be able to make use of that. Where does that put the industry on the map?
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a very sad event if 40% of the industry is easily out of the benefits of a government scheme. And the main reason for that is applicability of a condition which got over in February or March. So if the government announces a scheme or a benefit for anybody, leave alone the sugar industry, it should not have a condition which we cannot fulfill today or here in onwards. So the condition of the stock holding limit that the government wanted us to fulfill in February, March, when we were crushing our sugar cane, people were under pressure to pay to the farmers. They had so much of sugar, they didn't have storage capacity, so many other problems that we believe that almost 40% of the industry may not have been able to comply with that condition of February, March. Now, if a government announces a scheme of 55 rupees per ton of sugar cane benefit to the industry on the 9th of May 2018 and asks us to fulfill a condition which got over in March, obviously you're telling the industry, sorry, if you're 40% off, you are already out.
So clearly that help isn't of much use at this point in time. But Avinash, also tell us that, we understand the group of ministers, of course, have been meeting on this. We are also given to understand that perhaps yesterday the sugar representatives also met the ministry officials. What really has been the presentation or conversation on this now?
Which one? This exactly the retrospective effect of this application of the rule?
That's right.
Yes. So we have actually made a representation almost a week back. We have been meeting the government officials, but somehow I'm not able to understand why there is no appreciation of this fact. That a retrospective application of particular benefit is certainly not in the interest of either the government or in the interest of a program or the industry.
So is the government giving you an ear on this? I mean, is there any further development on this now?
We will again be meeting the government officials today. It's probably almost on a daily basis that we are going to them and explaining to them that we cannot have a condition which is a fait accompli for us. It is already over. The event is already over. So today telling to apply and fulfill that condition doesn't make any sense anymore.
So what is the fate of the industry as of now on how we stand right now with the sugar prices nearly 25 to 30% below cost of production? How is the industry really, tackling that?
We see on the 9th of May, the ex-mill prices in Maharashtra is 6 rupees per kilo at the mill gate. That has fallen to about 24.5 in Maharashtra.
Right.
The positive.
All right. That doesn't seem to be a very clean line, but as he said, there are concerns galore, and they have been meeting the ministry officials every day. Even today, the sugar industry representatives are meeting the ministry officials because clearly whatever the government has done hasn't really helped the industry.
Okay, all right, Manisha. Thanks very much for that. That's on the sugar space, but we have some incremental updates with regards to Binani Industries. And we have Ashpreet joining in, who's been tracking the story very closely. Ashpreet, over to you.
Well, remember, there was an earlier appeal by Binani Industries which was filed in April saying that they're willing to pay 100% of the creditors, and they basically sought a termination of the insolvency as far as Binani Cement is concerned. Now, NCLAT has today agreed to hear this appeal that has been filed by Binani Industries, and in fact, they're going to hear all these matters on May 22nd. Now, what the arguments were in the court is that Binani Industries told the tribunal that 98% shareholders of Binani Cement. That is the kind of shareholding they have, and they're willing to make the payment 100% to creditors within a span of 2 weeks. But in fact, Dalmia promoted Rajputana Properties. Remember, that is the resolution plan that has been in the offing. Now, they have come in and they've said that they need to be heard because their resolution plan has got to go ahead, not on record, but kind of go ahead, and the plea is pending before NCLAT. So, in fact, all these matters will be taken up on May 22nd, and that is when all the Dalmia and Binani matters will be discussed. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Ashpreet, thanks very much for that. So that's the tug of war continuing in the case of Binani Cement. Moving on now, Reliance Communications is in focus, stocks down almost 15%. The insolvency plea against the company has been admitted. It's a plea that was filed by Ericsson. We have Rima joining in with more details on this one. Rima, so what next for RCom?
Troubles mounting for Reliance Communication. Huge fall in the stock today, down 70% in 2018. The news is the NCLT yesterday admitted Ericsson's plea against Reliance Communication under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Ericsson, in fact, had moved the NCLT way back in September 2017, got admitted yesterday, and the reason is RCom owes Ericsson 1,150 crore. The immediate implication is that it's negative news for the banks because the recovery from Reliance Communications' asset sale to Reliance Jio now gets stuck. RCom and Jio had gotten into an agreement. RCom was to sell its tower fiber business to Reliance Jio for nearly $3 billion. The lenders were on board this. The financial creditors would have gotten paid with this. The operational creditors would not have gotten paid, which is why Ericsson was opposed to the deal. But now immediately, this Reliance Jio deal gets stuck because under IBC, the resolution professional will have to invite all bidders, not only Reliance Jio. So immediately, it's negative news for the banks because their recovery gets stuck. Secondly, under the IBC, can Reliance Jio even bid for assets? That's a question that we're going to ask because they are related by blood. And related party bidders are not allowed under IBC. But on the other hand, you could also argue that the businesses were formally separated by court in 2006 and therefore they're not related. So let's see what course this takes. But in the immediate term, it's negative news for equity shareholders, which is what's reflected in the stock because under IBC, equity value usually gets squeezed as we've seen in the past. And secondly, negative news for banks, especially the state-owned banks, because they're the ones who have a huge exposure to Reliance Communications debt because their recovery now gets delayed even further.
Okay, well, thanks, Rima, for that. This is important information where we are getting from CNN News 18, where the Karnataka governor may invite BJP to form the government. So we'll try and get our CNN News 18 reporter to talk about this latest development. But I just want to point out that if you're talking about the mid-caps, there are a lot of mid-caps which are declining in today's trade. So don't lose sight of that. We're not only talking about Reliance Communication, but PNB, which is now 75 rupees, is down 12%. Reliance Naval Engineering, that stock is down to around 12 odd rupees for that one as well, and has declined 75% on a year-to-date basis. So there's much more pain coming in for specific stocks from the broader markets. Well, let's talk about a couple of gainers within this market as well. We have Lupin, which is in fact up around 1.5% top gain on the Nifty. This is despite that loss that they reported, which was on account of impairment of Gavis Assets, which is their US arm. But maybe the company, maybe valuations are looking lucrative, and maybe the overall view is that the US markets have probably bottomed out. FY19 might be a washout for them, but FY20 onwards, there will be more upside in terms of the business. In fact, let's listen in to ace investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who quizzed the Lupin management last evening on their Q4 numbers.
My question is, what is the status of the erosion in the US market? Has consolidation taken place? Have prices stopped coming down? Or as the first aspect that consolidation is taking place, people are withdrawing?
Well, absolutely. There's definitely signals in the marketplace that pricing is starting to stabilize. And if you look at what some of the generic majors are saying, whether it is the CEO of Teva or Mylan, or look at the moves from Sandoz, companies are getting out of portfolios, and large portfolios. I mean, Teva CEO went public last week saying that he's going to get out of 80% of the portfolio, and the balance 20% he's going to do price increases.
I can see the smile on your face.
I know.
Because he's withdrawing.
Well, I think time has come for the industry to take strong action, and Companies have started getting out of portfolios that don't make sense and having conversations with the customers. What is really encouraging is that the customers are also understanding and appreciating the fact that the manufacturers have gotten to their pain point. And for them to really, for the industry to really be, for a healthy environment for the generic industry, it's important that the balance shifts a little bit. So that realization has come about. So I think, I wouldn't say that price erosion is gone, but I'd say the double-digit price erosion days we are hoping are behind us. And more companies are going to do what Teva, Mylan, Sandoz are doing, and we ourselves are addressing pockets of our portfolio where we have pressures and working with our channel partners, our customers, to see how we can work together to ensure sustainable supply.